All right, let me start off. I'll start off because, to be honest, you guys, this was my idea, and I'm so sorry we're all here right now. I think we're like, I know you guys are like, wait, how did we get in here? It's because of me, so I'm sorry. No, but I genuinely like said it as a joke, and they kind of went along with it. I think everyone watching like knows our husbands, so. If you even like mention something, like it's happening. There's no like going away from that. So
no, they jump on it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Especially
okay,
Mario
cool.
and
Let's
Oscar.
do it
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh.
Let's do it right
where?
now.
Like,
Yes.
Like, I love that about them, but then I'm also like, why?
So if you're wondering why we're on this podcast, it's not only Shanice's
Thank
idea,
you.
but it's by popular demand.
yes, exactly.
There's actually comments of people saying like, "Oh, let's meet the wives."
yes.
All right. I am Denise. I'm Jacob's wife. We're all sitting in the spots where our husbands are sitting, and so some of you wanted to get to know us. So this is who we are, Denise, and
I'm Diana. I'm Gerardo's wife.
And I'm Shanice. I'm Oscar's wife.
I'm Allie, Maria's wife.
And I would say, like, we're pretty opposite from the guys for sure. Like, where they're super laughing and bubbly, and, you know, they could start jokes and conversations out of anything.
Yes, I agree.
We're pretty opposite, but, like, with the girls, you know, like, yes, we can talk and, you know, hold our own, but definitely not as out there as them, for sure.
I like to call it selective extrovert.
Yes, me too. I always say I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
Like I could be introverted like when I need to be, but if I have to be like social butterfly, I definitely can.
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of like turn it
I was
on.
like trying to like say like who is introverted or extroverted out of like the couple. So Denise, for you, do you think you're the extrovert or the introvert? And then for Jacob?
Yeah, I would say he's generally the extrovert, but sometimes it depends on who we're with, right? Where it's like, if I'm the one who feels more comfortable with those people, then I'm like, I'm the social butterfly and he's kind of quiet. But in general, for sure him. Like, he's the one with like all the street smarts and like charm, and I'll send him to go talk to the staff at places like, you do your thing. You know, like he just has that like that energy that everyone likes, and I'm just more of like, okay, little
Love that.
How about
think-
you guys?
I think I'm the extrovert between me and Hera, definitely. But I'm just like shy, like in front of large crowds. Not shy, but I just don't.
Like more introverted at that point.
in large crowds. But I'm usually the one, like you said, like he's the one who sends me to go,
Talk to the
go
staff.
ask the stuff or like ask things in the grocery store. And I think it was more because I was raised that way. Like my mom was always very like tú pregunta, like you go ask, you know.
Yeah.
So and I don't really like it too much, but I'm good at it.
You just do it. Yeah.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
For us, I would say, well, I think everybody knows Oscar is for sure the extrovert. I'm the biggest introvert ever. But I think when we're like out in public too, like you guys said, like if they're like, oh, like makes me go ask everything, or like
He does?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
I don't
really?
know why. Like I wouldn't say he's like shy or scared in that moment, but like he just doesn't like to ask for like help, or like
I think
if
He actually did call you a Karen, though. Like, I'm sorry to say. Remember when we went out? He's like, "Oh no, have Shanice. She's the Karen."
Okay, for sure it's probably a guy thing.
Yeah.
But let me just say I'm not a Karen. I promise you guys.
I would have so.
Yeah, and I'm not a Karen, but I like
I'm sorry. That's like the most Karen thing to say.
Okay, what do you want me to say? I'm not.
I'm just kidding.
you know, she's like, I'm actually going to talk to him about
I'm like,
this.
actually, we've already discussed this. So, no, I think for me, like, he calls me a quote unquote Karen because, like, when we're out and, like, if something happens, like, I'm going to say something, you know? Like, if we're at a restaurant and the food's cold, I'm going to be the one.
You're
Like, he's
outspoken.
just not the one to be like, like he'll tell me his food's cold, but he's not going to tell the waitress his food's cold.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, do you want a new plate? Because I'll get you a new plate.
Yeah.
But for him, it's more like, no, it's fine. I'll eat it cold. So I'm not a Karen. Let's just put that out there. But I like to, you know, if we're out at a restaurant and we're paying for something, I think we want it to be good and, you know, get good service.
You always need to have someone around that could do that. Exactly. So I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Mario, it's obviously the introvert extra, I would call him.
You would call him an introvert?
Extrovert.
Extrovert.
Extra.
Yes.
Extrovert. Yes. He's just a people person. I think he shines his best when he's surrounded with people, and he'll do anything to make you laugh or whatever the situation is. He'll get it.
And and for those who don't know, this is Allie, the lovely Allie, Mario's wife, aka everyone's bestie. Everyone has a soft spot, like, Allie, my girl Allie. Right.
But I think it works good for us because I don't think two Marios could exist. And
no, I was literally
that's
thinking,
how it is.
Yes. Because I was thinking like how opposite me and Oscar are, and you guys can probably say that for you and your husbands as well. But if we were anything like them, like, no way.
No, it wouldn't work.
No
it's like
way.
the tale as old as time. Like opposites attract.
Exactly.
For sure.
And for sure, like we are all the balance that our husbands need. I think we all are the balance because they are pretty wild.
They can be very wild.
I feel like Hedda's my balance.
So
You're right. You're right. So
it's because he's more like the organized, like he's the planner and like the disciplined one, and I'm more like the spontaneous one and a little reckless sometimes.
Hey, but
that's what I needed. And like I'm more because I'm like more like the creative one. He's creative too, but I'm more like, oh, it's okay, like if we don't have time, we won't do it, or like
go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Yeah. So
I like to know when the flow starts. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I like to have a general plan. Like, let's say even if it's vacationing or whatever.
That's how
like,
he is too.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to
like,
be by the hour, but if we can say like, okay, cool. I think I have an idea of like these two spots we could go and then make a choice or whatever, but also not like, okay, like no plan and, you know, like some structure, but like allow for spontaneity. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. And I like being around like different kinds of people, like that are like some are spontaneous, because I feel like you don't get that a lot. So like if you're more spontaneous and creative, it's like you feed off of that too. Like if you don't really have that for yourself.
Right. That's true. Yeah. I think for like Oscar, honestly, he's like more of the planner for us, like in our family. And I kind of just go along with the ride. So, but he like started that like the day we started dating, like he would be, not saying I don't plan dates, but he'd be the date planner, the trip planner, like making the itinerary for everything. And I went along with it.
I love that.
Yeah. I'm like, I never really had to do it. And he's so good at it. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just let you keep that role and I'll stay where I am.
I love that. Yeah. And so many people, I'm sure they would love to have that too.
Yes.
That's really good.
I mean, that's kind of like what a marriage or like what a relationship's supposed to be like, right? Like just give and take, you know, compromise and all these things that like, okay, like you're lacking in this, like I got you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people think like you have to be exactly like the other person. Like, oh, we have to like everything the same.
Yeah.
Or we have to be the same
do
way.
Everything together.
Do everything together. Or if I am like, you know, I value being funny or whatever, she has to be funny too. It's like, well, don't you also need someone to laugh at the jokes, right? Like you have to have that balance, right? Because otherwise it's like you're always just with yourself. Whereas like if you have somebody that's complementary to you but opposite, you know, you could really go with that. And I think it's interesting because like I would say the guys are kind of comfortable with like, let's say the spotlight or the pressure. Mario plays, Hera plays, Oscar, he's just out there, right?
Stand-up
Jacob
comedian.
plays, stand-up. He was like willing to go the full length and like being out there. And Jacob teases me, but one thing that I thought of when I heard that marriage podcast that they did of like the road to marriage was just about our engagement story and our wedding story. And he said that like the day that we got engaged, that I was so serious when it all happened. And then like also at our wedding day, he's like, when you were walking down the aisle, you were so serious. And I look at photos, I'm like, I'm smiling. Like, what are you talking about? Right. And I just came to the conclusion, like, I don't like the spotlight of like, everyone, like some people live for it, like they just love to have all the attention on themselves, and I'm like, I don't like that. Like I'm not like shy and I could go up and talk to a crowd, but I just don't live for that moment. And if I felt like everyone's looking at me, it's like you're super aware of like every single eyeball, right?
Serious. I was bawling like the entire time. Like ugly crying too. It was bad.
I saw the video. It was so cute.
Oh god.
You're just like,
wait, at the engagement?
The engagement.
Oh, okay, yeah. The engagement was a surprise, but the wedding, I was like, bawling.
I didn't cry. Not like during the ceremony. I think just like events leading to it, but I think I don't know, it just kind of feels lonely to be in the spotlight and like all eyes on you. So like let's say when I was walking down the aisle, like I was grabbing onto my dad, like don't let me go, don't let me fall, just like I'm here. Like I wouldn't want to do that by myself, right? Like that.
Did you
walk
have a big wedding?
For I guess depending on the cultural standards, right? It was about 175. So some people would just categorize that like medium, some small, just depending on like where you're at in wedding type parties.
That's a good size.
But the ceremony, it was a little bit smaller, like fewer people went, and then more people showed up to the reception. Yeah. That's, you could totally tell that we're opposite in that.
Yeah, I think for like I agree with you a lot. Like I don't like being the center of attention. I don't even take compliments well. I don't know. It's something like I struggle with even since I was little. Like if someone even says like, "Oh, I like your earrings," like I don't know. I have a hard time like accepting compliments. So for me, I think like the spotlight, like if it could be anywhere but me, like I'm running away from the spotlight at all times. So I agree with you on that sense. I just don't really like the spotlight. So I don't know.
I think for me, it's like a trust thing. Like if it's from strangers, I'm kind of like, okay. But if it's like people that I know, like that I can trust, I'm okay. I'm more like extrovert and more like cool with being myself, I guess. Not that I'm fake with other people, but
it's just a different side of you.
Yeah.
I agree. Cause you guys would, talk to me and probably think like you're not an introvert, right?
No.
But because it's like we're in an intimate setting, right? Like if we're at a restaurant, you're at my house or whatever, like of course I'm gonna be myself and like just fully be able to be bubbly with you, right? But different settings or different people, it's like, ooh, like where are we going here? Like what's the vibe?
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess it depends on the environment where I'm
you're
at. Where I'm at, where I feel either okay, I can do it, or it's okay, we'll just hide behind Maria's jokes.
Right? That's always nice.
Like for the podcast, I would like legit when Hera told me like we were recording today, I was like, nuh-uh. And then I was like, I'm like, I legit I got a knot in my throat because and I couldn't like, I mean, not that I couldn't swallow, but I was like swallowing and like I had a knot in my throat because of how nervous I was to be here. I know. I'm okay. But yeah, I was really nervous and scared. This is like public speaking is a phobia of mine.
Oh my god!
And a lot of people have that phobia.
What do you guys
it's a
have
skill.
phobia of?
Honestly, like I'm not just saying it because you said it, but
Public
public speaking. I remember like school having to like present projects and stuff. Like I kid you not, like I would cry every single time. And like to this day, if like I guess if it's like a smaller setting, I can like get up in front of people that I know. Also, it cannot be strangers or else I'll just like break down in tears for whatever reason.
no.
Yeah, it's so bad. I'm like, okay, like when is this
I
going to
did
go
cry
away? I'm
earlier.
almost
I did
30 years
cry.
old. Did you?
I cried just for a bit. Like earlier.
Like because of this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I
But yeah, I can
teared up.
relate. Like I don't know what it is. And like for me, I'm like, is this going to pass? Because I'm an adult now. Like I'm so over this. Like, but for me, if I'm like in a smaller setting and it's people I know, I can pretty much talk, but I still am like super nervous. But if it's like complete strangers or whatever, like the knot in my throat just like, I just can't. I can't.
I
don't know.
threw up in my first speech class. I threw up.
Wow.
Like
Yes.
during your speech?
Yes.
Right
before. Right before. Like
Okay.
like
Not in front of everyone?
No, in front of everyone.
Oh my god.
But like right before I started, yeah. And then afterwards, everybody was like so pity, like, oh, good job. Like every speech after that, they were just like so nice because they felt bad for me because I was like so nervous. But
it's one of the
legit.
top fears. It's
Yeah,
public
it's
speaking.
Mine's
It's like
the top
either one
bad.
or two.
No,
yeah.
it's the top one.
The top one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
It's the top one.
Do you guys think it's like something you could work on? I know some people like it's a skill, right? But
Yeah.
do you think that I know some people have it naturally where it just comes to them.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say where you're at, do you think that in time it would get better if like you really dedicated time to it? Or is it just like going to be there for you guys?
No, yeah, I think, well, I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like if I worked at it, I think I could get comfortable. If I'm prepared for something, I can also be more
Yes.
comfortable.
Right.
Yeah,
and
that's
the more
true.
you do it, the more you
the
get
more
used to
okay.
that.
Yeah, like, and if it's
Yeah.
like a topic that I'm just doing over and over again, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like I can do
Like a
this.
keynote speech. You
Yes.
could just keep
Yeah.
replicating it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in 8th grade, they had this speech competition that if you, like when you graduated, if you want to go up there and do a speech. And I was just messing around, like, okay, I'll join. I guess nobody else joined. So I was stuck doing the speech. And I didn't think I was going to do it because I thought it was going to be all kinds of people enrolling for the speech, and it was me.
Just you?
So
Just-
just you.
Oh
just
my
me.
goodness.
I was
And you
the
weren't
only-
nervous.
Well, I had to do it because there was
Oh,
nobody
you're like, I
else
have
that
no choice. I'm
Right.
here and I'm the only
So
one.
I think when I'm in a position where you have to do this,
yeah.
You will.
I have no problem doing it.
That's-
But if I'm like, oh, would you like to give a speech? Probably not.
Yeah.
If you have nobody else, I'll do it.
You know what? That's a trait I have too. Like, if no one's stepping up, like
You could step up
I
to
could
the plate.
I could step up to
Right.
the plate. Like, I have this story where we were hiking and everyone was scared, like, because there was like 2 rattlesnakes and it was like mating season. And like they were in the middle of the hiking trail and everybody was like, oh my gosh, whatever, right? And I was like that too. And I was like so scared. But then there was like two people with their dog that were going to cross over. And they were like scared too. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I got you. And I went over, crossed them over.
Oh my
and then I
goodness.
come back and I'm like, I don't want to cross over again. And I'm like, but
you could be brave for other people, but not for
or when like there's no one stepping up, I'm like, okay, like I
Yeah.
could do it. Or like in class projects too, like, well, this is kind of like not the same thing, but I would just like volunteer to do like pretty much the whole project so I didn't have to speak.
Oh, that makes sense. That's a good strategy.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll do everything.
I'll
or
type it up. I'll do the
I'll
art.
do the whole presentation and you present.
deliver it.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, fine.
Yeah.
The
I mean, they got the
charismatic
good.
people were
Yeah,
like,
they're
okay.
like, heck yeah, I
hey,
don't want to
that's
do
the
that
hard
work
part for me,
anyways.
so go ahead. Do that
Yes.
part.
Exactly.
Hey, that's balance too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I knew when I picked Hedda, I'm like, I need someone who can pay the bills on time. Just kidding. I'm not too irresponsible.
Hey, auto pay does wonders. You don't even have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
I know. I'm so thankful for all the technology.
For
out
sure.
there.
Same.
Like so much. Well, because I'm so forgetful and all these things, like I feel like I know how to get myself out of positions though. Like that's something I bring to the table actually. Because Hedda's like, no, like it's closed. Like there's nothing we can do. And I'm like,
There's always something you could do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, there's something we can figure out. Like,
if there's a rule, we can bend it.
Yeah. Like we go to the bank. Oh, you forgot your ID. You can't go. I'm like, no, card-free ATM.
Yes.
Like you forgot your debit card and your ID. Like
It's
I got
okay.
you.
I got the app, right?
You lost it too.
It's okay. I have the social.
Yeah, I memorize the social and I memorize all my.
You know what? I see you
Cards.
as a chameleon, right? Because you're so flexible and like everywhere that you're put, you kind of just blend in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like at church or like in conversations, like you just like seamlessly, it's like liquid that you just like float in. So like what you're saying right now, you're like, we'll make it work. Like I'll just flow in there.
Yes.
I love that.
No, I am very adaptable.
Yes.
Like I kind of feed off people's energy like a lot. Just I'm like depending, and that's how I was in high school too. Like I would just like kind of like jump around, like not really just stay with one group.
Yeah.
But
That's actually a coping mechanism, just to be so adaptable and like to change your energy based off of the people around you and like the circumstances. So that's well, it's spooky season, you guys. It's October.
Yes.
You guys have any like fears or anything that kind of, I don't know, scares you? It could be like, I know some people just hate spiders, right? Or the dark.
I hate the dark to this to this day. I still hate it. But I used to sleep before I was with Hedda, I used to sleep with the light on like all the time. Like I don't have no problem sleeping with the light on. But now, you know, I'm married. It's fine.
You're like,
I can turn it
I'm
on.
fine.
Yes, like I'm actually okay. And Hedda has like insomnia like issues, so like I'm like, okay, it's all about me. But yeah, the dark is definitely still a fear of mine. It's more like because I get anxious because I can't see what's in front of me.
Yeah.
And even that's I don't know if you guys know me. I'm a FaceTimer. And that's the same fear I have, like when talking on the phone. I get anxious not looking at the person.
I never knew that.
I did not
but I
know
mean,
that.
like, I know you would FaceTime me to talk, but like, I never knew that was the reason why.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
so
no. Oh my
interesting.
goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I get. So that's like all my friends, you know, who know me, like I'm the FaceTimer of the group.
Yeah.
Like I
Yes.
always FaceTime people. And I'm like, and everybody would be like, why are you FaceTiming me? I'm like, it's a feature on the phone.
I use
We're
it.
using
It's like
it.
texting.
And I'm using it.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I FaceTime people.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. Go
Okay. I don't think. Okay, I'm definitely not scared of the dark. Not at all. Spiders. I do not like spiders, but if Oscar's not home, I have no choice, so I have to kill them. Yeah, like if there's a bug or a spider, I have to kill it if he's not home. But I'll call him first if he's home for sure. Like I'm like, no,
me.
really?
No way.
No, like literally not.
Kill it.
Yeah, there was like a fat spider. Like it was probably the size
babe.
of like a quarter, and I thought that's a big spider.
That
to
is
me.
a big spider.
And it was next to Mia on the couch. Like it was on the couch. So she was like freaking out. Oscar wasn't home, so I'm like, okay, I have to kill this spider. Like what the heck? So I originally I went to like smack it with a shoe, and then like it fell off.
Oh
So then I had to run and like get a paper towel and then grab it. But like after that, I had to call Oscar to tell him like I just killed the spider. Like I didn't need you. But I don't like spiders, not at all. I do not like haunted houses at all. Like we were actually all talking about it recently. When I was younger, I went to like this corn maze type thing. I'm pretty sure I was probably too young to even be in there, to be honest, but I went through it with like my older sisters and some other friends and stuff. And it's like one of those ones where like people jump out at you and like obviously they have like chainsaws that are broken and stuff like that. But it feels so real.
It does.
I don't know. Have you guys ever done something like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I love haunted houses, but I'll still be scared.
Yeah.
But I just love being scared.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
For me, like
I'll still be like hiding behind people.
Yes. No.
never
I
again. Like for me,
scared.
I'm like, don't know why I even went in there. And after that, I was like, I will never do this again. Like nobody could pay me enough money to do that again. I wouldn't do it. I just can't. Even though I know in my mind, like it's fake, like I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
The one with the chainsaw thing that they chase you at the end.
Yes. Like,
okay, what was the scariest scene? Was it the chainsaw scene that was the scariest for you? Because you know how there's different like kind of character
and
things,
also
like
the
clowns.
thing like people would
or like little kids.
Oh,
yeah,
you know, like when they have the little dead
I
kids?
don't know. I
That's
think
scary.
there's like one time we went to Universal Studios, and I can't remember what the ride is called, but they took it out. It's not there anymore. And so there was a
That's a real. For some reason, this right side
doesn't
earring
like me. Like I'm just
Not
gonna leave
today.
it off, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was like a fake Chucky mannequin, and I didn't know there was a real midget in there dressed as Chucky.
No way.
You guys, I'm not joking. So
They were committed.
mind you, me and Oscar were like a year in, so I'm like, oh, like cool, let's do this ride. I'm freaking terrified. I don't know why I went on it. Anyways, so it's like a whole maze you go through, and we're like almost to the end. And I see like the Chucky mannequin, right? The mannequin. And I'm like, oh, look, it's Chucky. And then out of nowhere, you guys, this midget as Chucky, like it looked like Chucky. He hears me say that and he starts chasing me out to the end. I'm not kidding.
No
So
way.
he chases me all the way out. I'm like pushing people out of the way to just get to the end. And I left Oscar. I was like, you know what? He'll find me outside. I'm out of here. But literally, like, I can't do those. Like, after that one, I was like, this is for sure the last one I'll ever do. But
do you guys like spooky movies instead? Like maybe like Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, like
or-
any
love
classic
Hocus
ones.
Pocus.
Yeah.
I watched Hocus Pocus at school, and I never saw the ending until like years later. Because you know when they used to bring the car pushing.
and we never got to finish the movie.
And we didn't finish the movie. And and I think I watched the ending like years later, like, oh, that was it.
Yeah.
Didn't it seem so scary when you were little?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Hocus Pocus was so scary to me as a kid, but I loved it. Like, especially growing up like in a Christian household where you can't like anything Halloween. Like we could barely have a pumpkin at the house, right?
Wow.
And you couldn't carve it. You couldn't dress up. You couldn't get candy or anything like that. And so I remember sitting at the window of our living room and just peeking out onto the street on Halloween night, and it seemed like the scene from Hocus Pocus when all the kids were trick-or-treating. Like if you go now like in this neighborhood, there's not as many kids, but like when I was a kid here, there were kids everywhere. It was like very family friendly. And so you would just it was all lit up and everyone and their families, like, you know, costumes, and I would just be there longingly watching everybody else dress up, right? And I would sneak watching movies too. Like I would watch bits and pieces of Hocus Pocus and then Halloween Town. Those were my two movies. I love them. They're so cute.
I watched Halloween Town recently again, and I was like, what? Like, this is what it was?
Right?
It's so different now.
Like, I loved this movie growing up.
Yeah.
And then now you watch it, and it's like the special effects are like,
I know.
So corny.
Yeah, it is, but it's still a classic.
Yeah.
It's so
no, of
cute.
course, I still love it.
I love it.
Yeah, I literally watch Hocus Pocus at least once during October. Like
Same.
I have to.
Yes.
And the kids, like they love it too. So it just makes it like that
That's
more exciting for
perfect.
me. But like it's a tradition for us now. Like we always watch Halloween Town and Hocus Pocus every single October.
I feel like we have to. Like I have to watch those just to get my fix of like, all right, it's Halloween season, only in October. Let's do it.
Right.
Do the boys like Halloween movies or scary movies?
Seth does. Cyan, maybe not too much, but Seth does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you guys wouldn't watch like scary movies with them or nothing like
No, I mean, I wouldn't watch it.
Did you guys celebrate Halloween at all? Everybody celebrate Halloween? Like growing up or not really?
Not really.
No. I never celebrated Halloween.
Really?
No, I always did. Like I dressed up every single year.
Oh yeah.
We would go trick or treating every year, just like our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like we were pretty, and it's crazy now that I'm thinking about it because we wouldn't really go with adults. But I guess it was safer.
No, that
back
was the
then.
thing.
Like
It was safer.
normal.
You just go with your friends.
Now I can't even imagine my kids even. I can't. They would never do that by themselves. But just like my mom knew all the neighbors, so we would just go with like a group of the kids and just go house to house, and it was safe. Like nothing was of concern, so our parents felt okay letting us just go trick or treat. You know, so
I have a crazy story about that actually. Like, so we didn't celebrate Halloween, and like my mom and my dad had just like gone into church too, so like yeah, they were just like kind of like against Halloween a little bit. But you know, all my cousins were going, like so my mom was like, okay, I think I was like 5 years old, and my mom was like, okay, like you can go. And that night I got one of my candies that I got, there was a nail in the candy.
No way.
Yeah. So then after that, my mom was like, no, never again. You're not going.
Those are like the freak stories that they tell you. Like,
but
they're
that's
gonna
the
put
one
drugs,
thing. My mom would not let us eat one piece of candy until she checked every single piece.
Yeah.
Like, and if there was just the slightest tear or anything, throw it away. Like she would check every piece. And we couldn't have a piece until she checked it.
That's
too.
I guess that's what my mom did too.
I mean,
I was little too.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah. So she like just got freaked out about that, and she was like, "No,
Nope.
yeah, last time you're doing that." Like,
that makes sense though. If you actually find a nail, like usually, you know, those are just stories you hear, but for it to actually happen, I could see why.
Yeah. And same for me. Like, I take my kids trick or treating now. We do it a little bit, not like super crazy, but. Same thing. I'll check their candy, all of it, every single last piece. I end up throwing almost more than half of it away.
No
and
way.
then
Like, do you throw
it's
it
just
away
too much.
right away? Or
No,
just
I
after?
let them like have the excitement of, oh my God, let me have a candy after school. And then like I gradually start throwing it away because they just get too much and they don't need it all. But yeah, I like got that from my mom. Like check every piece. If something looks off, whatever the case is, just throw it away.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for us, we have to get something pumpkin in October. So like a pumpkin spice latte or pumpkin pie, like just something pumpkin where you're just actually savoring that season. And then now we've kind of been more of like, all right, let's dress up, let's do something, whether it's a haunted house or a party. I've been really enjoying either you go to a Halloween party or you throw a Halloween party. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Just seeing everyone's costumes is a lot of fun too. And I've always just wanted to pass out candy. So when we started passing out candy a few years ago, it was the best thing. Like, ooh, look at you. You're an angel. Like, you know, like pass out the candy and you're just so excited. I'm like, I'm going to get the big bars. And like, I just want to just see all the fun.
Yes,
and
people
like,
remember those houses too. If you have the big candy bars, we're going back next year.
Exactly. So I'm so excited this year. I'm like, I'm going to pass out candy. I'm going to dress up while I do it. And
so cute.
I love
we
that.
always we go to the pumpkin patch every year too, and we do like pumpkin carving. I don't know if you guys do that, but yeah, so this year we haven't gone just yet, but we're planning probably next week. I think you guys are coming with us apparently.
Oh yeah?
I feel like this is news to you guys, but you guys are coming with
I
us.
love it.
Do you guys ever go to the pumpkin patch?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
cool.
I feel like now we have so many Halloween traditions. I could have gone on. It's like I start my Harry Potter movie marathon in October.
Yes, I do too.
And then
we
and
did
all the
that
way
last
to
year.
December, because it's
Yeah.
like kind of like Halloween movies and Christmas movies.
Yeah.
So I
'Cause that's
start
when you get
that
the breaks
Yes.
too, you know. So
exactly. And then it's cold and cozy and like you just want to watch a movie. So it's like spooky movies in October and starting like Harry Potter and then always pumpkin patch, and then carving is always fun too. I love it. I love everything that has to do with fall.
Yeah.
Fall and winter. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I actually recently, you guys were talking about Vampire Diaries. You guys remember that?
Yes.
And I know you guys remember that whole conversation. And I was like, what are they talking about? Like, you guys were just like saying all these people's names and all these stories, and then I started. Yes, and then a couple weeks later, I was like, you know what? Let me just watch it, and I am obsessed.
I love it.
Like, I am so obsessed. I think
watch the finale. And
Yes. Okay, so
there's so much. I don't even know how many seasons there are, but I'm barely on
7 or
season
8.
2.
Okay.
So I have a long way to go, but I'm obsessed.
Okay, the season 2 finale is really good.
Yes.
Yeah,
When you guys
the
were like
season
saying the
2.
names, I'm like, oh, I remember they were saying like, I like this person, I don't like this person.
See, that's why I
but...
said not to say anything.
Yeah, I didn't say anything.
No, you guys didn't say like
No.
any like spoilers, but like when you were mentioning people, I'm like, oh, okay, and now I know why they didn't like this person. Things like that. So
you do remember.
Okay, so I will say
that's how scary I go.
Okay, that's scary.
That's how scary I go. That's like, oh my god, it's too much.
Vampires.
do you
I
guys
love
like
Vampire Diaries.
Twilight or like Vampire Diaries?
I prefer Vampire Diaries, but I still like Twilight.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Twilight.
Yeah, me
I
too.
don't like Twilight.
You don't? Why?
Okay, let me tell you why. Because I read the books.
Okay.
Yes.
And I loved the books so much, and like I feel like I finished the whole series in like a week. Like, and I was so excited. The first one had just came out, so I was like, yay, like I'm gonna go watch it, and I was like super excited. And I feel like when I read, like I just like my creativity and like my imagination is
spirals.
just like crazy.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like,
Yeah.
and like the actors weren't good, and I was just so disappointed. And I just felt like, I don't know, because I just like, it was so fresh.
Yeah.
And I had like finished the whole series like in a week, and then I go to the movie and it was like, me.
Yeah.
And I was just disappointed. And after that, I was like, no, forget it. I'm not even watching the other ones.
Did you end up watching any of the other ones?
No, yeah, I saw them all.
She's like, I still watch her, but
I'm curious.
No, because I mean, I loved the book so much.
Yeah.
I even tried to get my cousin to like, I was like, you need to read it, and she never read it. It's fine. Still heartbroken about it. But.
Yeah, no, I really like, I was the same. I read all the Twilight books first, and then, all the movies came out, so I would go to the midnight showings. It was a lot of fun, right? Like, you're just having fun. Yeah, and it's like, oh, Team Edward, Team Jacob, like, what are you, right? And it's just like the experience, and you don't really experience that now unless, like, it kind of came back a little bit with, like, the Taylor Swift and, Beyonce concerts, like, that like you're kind of part of something, right? And that experience of like lining up for something and like being a fan of something, right? But it was like really like the Twilight and Harry Potter that started all of that. And same with like the multiple chapters for like the finale. It's like part 1, part 2. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. But like Vampire Diaries, I feel like it's just really good. I like the fandom of it too, like the different characters, and then once you watch all the seasons and then the spin-off show, you get more into depth of like the world building aspect of like, oh, this is how the vampires were created, or this is how the werewolves were created.
Okay. I have to ask did you say you like Twilight too?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Team Edward or Team Jacob? Ale?
Jacob.
I'm Team Edward.
Team Edward.
Team Jacob. You're such a sweetheart.
In the books.
In the books. I mean, yes.
In
like
the books.
So is he like way different in the movie?
No, but
though?
in the movies,
I didn't read any of the books.
I don't know, like, what would you say is wrong with Jacob in the movies? No, I'm like, genuine question.
The actor is just like so corny to me.
Maybe it's
okay.
I like Jacob in the books
a
lot more than the one in the movie, but I I think I still like Team Edward more.
You know what I really liked about him was in the books, Bella referred to him as like being like the sun, right? And how like warm he was and all that. And I just love that about his character. It's like he was just so bright and warm and loving, and like his maybe it's like the book kind of like warps your perception of it, because I mean Twilight in general is very corny. Even Edward, he's super corny too. But yeah, like in general, you just look at him and
to read him again.
Yeah.
What about for Vampire Diaries?
Yes. Who do you
Stefan
like so
or
far?
Damon?
For sure, Stefan.
Yes. Stefan girly. I love Stefan.
Okay, we can all agree on that then.
Yeah.
Or do you like Damon? You're like, well, I didn't answer yet. So.
You're like, it's still early in the seasons. Right?
Hey, I'm only on season 2, so
you might change your mind.
I might. So far, I'm Team
I'm
Stefan.
actually Team Klaus.
I love Klaus.
Yes.
I love Klaus.
Once he hasn't come out yet. No, you'll see him.
Especially in the originals.
Yes.
I love him.
Yes.
He's
both Damon and Stefan. I like Ripper Stefan.
I love Ripper Stefan. If you don't know who Ripper Stefan is, okay, no, I'm sorry.
All right,
we will not give this away.
Let me get through like season 4, maybe at some.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about it.
There's just
later.
so many episodes too. Like I'm like, when is season
back
1
when they
over?
made shows really well? 22 seasons,
which I like. I
Me
do,
too.
because I'm like, I don't want this show to end, so let me just keep watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I love the originals. What do you like better, Vampire Diaries or originals?
Originals,
right?
Both too.
I was shocked because I as much as I love Vampire Diaries, I really thought like, okay, like it's just a spinoff, right? But then you watch it and you're like, oh my gosh, the originals. Yeah. Like, you just love that.
It's so good.
It's really good.
Okay, let's talk about that.
What is my
Alice like nothing.
It's not afraid of anything.
Fearless.
Yes.
You're like, I wish he was scared of something.
I know.
Use it against him. I see your logic.
Okay, so as far as our husbands, that's Oscar's biggest
What are
fear.
they scared of? You?
He's scared of me. Yes.
Yes.
Only when I'm in Karen mode, but
how it should be.
No.
Do you guys say if you had to pick a fear of your husband's, like the top number 1, what would it be?
Heights
Really?
and roller coasters.
See, he seems like the type that would like amusement parks and rides and stuff.
He loves it. He just doesn't like the rides.
And you like them, right?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I'm like an adrenaline junkie.
Oh yes, girl.
Okay, nice.
Like
Me too.
Like I want to go parachuting. I
Me
wanna
too.
go-
Okay, let's do a
No
girls
way.
Yes.
Would you go
me, too.
skydiving?
Yes.
You would.
Yes.
See, I could not.
Really?
No, I'm an adrenaline junkie too. Like in
too.
that sense.
Well, you guys should all go, and I'll wait for you down at the bottom.
You take
I mean,
pictures?
I'll still be scared. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'd still be scared. Even when I go on roller
Of
coasters
course.
that I know that it's coming, I'm like,
But it's like a nice little rush because I too I'm like kind of scared of roller coasters, but I force myself to go on them because after I like the rush that it comes with, but going onto it like I'm like shaking, I'm so nervous, but then after I'm like I'm so glad I did it. But, yeah.
Yeah.
The
No,
thrill of it.
Mario went on the Superman at Six Flags when he was younger, and he passed out.
Oh my
No.
So he
way.
remembers sitting in the ride, and then he remembers just like opening his eyes in the ride and stuff.
Do you think he's gonna be mad that you just said that?
No,
He will. He'll admit worse.
That's true.
But
I mean, I don't know about on camera.
After that,
so
and
scary.
because he has migraines, so he had a really bad migraine, and he went on that roller coaster. And before he would go on roller coasters, you know, like the thing back in the day was going to Great America with your girlfriend. So he would force himself to go into roller coasters. Not with me. I didn't force him to go on roller coasters, but before.
Yeah.
So then he went on that.
That's how he knew you were the one. You didn't force him on the ride.
Force him.
So then when he was like 16, 17, they went to Six Flags, and he got on that roller coaster, and that was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore.
Oh my god, that's scary.
Yeah, so that's...
Do you guys like rides? Like, you guys will go on?
I do
anything?
like rides.
Yeah.
I just can't do spinning rides. That's both of us. We cannot do spinning rides. I've had quite a few childhood / teenage incidents where you just have to let it all go on the ride and on my friends and stuff, right? So it was so embarrassing. And after that, I was like, I'm just not going on spinning rides anymore.
Yeah.
But I like Drop Zone. I like roller coasters.
That's the only one that I kind of like. If nobody wants to get on, I'm like, okay.
We don't have to go.
it.
Oh, you don't want to go on?
Yeah.
I guess it's
Fine. I'll
Drop
stay
Tower
with you.
now, but
Yeah.
I'll always call it Drop Zone.
But I did go on like the tallest one, I think, like in the U.S., which is in Virginia. And that's like the tallest one, I think, it's in King's Dominion Amusement Park. And it's like one of the tallest drop zones ever. And I went on it.
I went on one in Mexico that, from what I remember, it seemed like it was taller than Drop Zone, right? Like, just, I remember that ride just being so long to get up there. And then even just the free fall down, it felt like never ending. And I try to think, like, was that just because, you know, like, I was a teenager or like scared, but no, like even from what I remember, just like the sight that you saw was a lot taller and probably more dangerous because it was Mexico.
The horrible thing about the drop zone is that it goes and then you're up there for like lingering for a bit.
I've never been on it.
No, okay.
Nope, and I won't.
The lingering part, I'm like, just drop
that's
us
the scary
already.
part. That's the scary part.
Because
they do like a little fake out, like one or two fake outs of like a little.
Yes.
And then it goes like up and down.
Oh my God.
So I got up on the one they have at Stratosphere in Vegas. They have like a semi drop zone at the very top of the building. So I got on that one. And then the funny thing is that they have like a roller coaster that goes off the building and comes back at the very top.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, I've seen that.
And I've done it before, but probably like 7-8 years ago, I went on it and we were sitting in the front seat. And when it went down, I was like, what am I doing?
Yes. I've done that one too.
You've done it?
Yeah, all the Stratosphere ones, like they go off.
And after that ride on that one, I was like, what am I doing? What is this for? Well, and then I had the boys then, and I was like, oh my God, if something happens to me for being here.
Yeah, I definitely want to do all that stuff before I have kids.
Yeah.
I feel like when I have kids, like I'm gonna, or if I have kids, we'll see. I feel like I'm just gonna be like, no, like not do scary stuff anymore. I don't know why I feel like that, but maybe because I'm so like just like reckless. But I know when I become a mom, like I'm not going to be that way.
So what I did with the
like
boys, I used to go on the roller coaster with them when they were little. Like I went on their first roller coaster. One of them liked when they was like, no, it's not my thing. But I did those things with them, and even. I don't know, like 3 years ago, we went to Great America and come on, guys, let's get in this one. Oh, it's okay, Mom. But, you know, just try to enjoy it with them. Or just,
The little kid roller coasters are so cute too. Like at Great America, they have the Snoopy Peanuts little park there. And it's so cute. They never flip over, but you see them just go around and all the kids are scared. It's adorable. Like they're little.
I know.
4 years old.
So their first roller coaster was at Legoland, and they were so proud of themselves that they got on, and they want to go again without me. So I was like, they graduated.
You did your job.
Yeah. So, and one of them liked, and the other one, not really. Yeah.
Sion was the one who didn't like it.
Yep. And he likes it, but he's not very he's very safe. He wants to make sure that it's it. Am I gonna put myself in danger for something that is
like
not,
for what?
Right. Yeah. And said, let's do it. So
It's funny.
Shanice, besides you, who is Oscar, or what is Oscar afraid of?
I don't even know, honestly.
He's afraid of so many things.
He probably is, but I mean, I would probably say like spiders, but he does kill them because he has no choice. Because I'm not
afraid of heights and the ocean.
The ocean,
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Getting on planes.
You're like naming everything in the book.
Naming all his fears right now.
Okay, food, shrimp, fish,
Unknown flavors,
seasoned food. No, I'm just kidding.
Freak accidents.
He is afraid of the ocean. Yeah, but honestly, I didn't really think of that because we kind of both are in a sense. We just like stay at shore. Like if I can touch the ground, I'm good. I don't need to go see what's out there. And then he's for sure scared of the ocean. Heights to an extent, like he'll go on rides, so he's not like scared of like roller coasters and things like that. Airplanes, not that much, but like skydiving or like anything like that, no, he won't do. What else did you say? I'm like, you know all his fears.
Just because he said it, like I won't do that. I won't do that. Just heights.
Yeah,
heights,
I think heights to an extent for sure. And then the ocean, like no. I think for him, he always, which is a good thing, like he thinks of like the worst thing that could happen to him. But it also does hold him back from like trying new things, you know? So I think in a sense, it's like it's a good thing, but also it's like you could miss out on a good experience also, you know? But I think now that for sure we have kids, like you said, he's always going to think of that worst case scenario. If this can happen, I'm not doing it. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. I mean, we're kind of like on the same board though. So it's not like I'm down to go parachuting and then he's not. So it's kind of like we're on the same fence in that sense. So it works out for us. But is there anything like you guys would do that your husband wouldn't do, or vice versa?
Well, yeah, I mean, like
would Hedda go parachute or skydiving? No.
Mario won't go skydiving.
No, he wouldn't. I mean, even in our honeymoon, like, you know, I think I told you guys this story. Like, I was like, woohoo, like, out, like the rocks. You know, we went to the Grand Canyon, and then we went to Sedona. And like,
I need your itinerary.
Yeah, Horseshoe Bend. We were there, and a Horseshoe Bend, like, you know, it's like a drop down, and like you could go pretty far in, like on the edge of the rocks. And I was like going in, and he's like, Diana, like that's enough. Like, don't go for it. Like, you know. So he was like, I guess like his fear is like that I can get hurt too. But I'm like, it's fine. Like everyone's going like so far in. Like it's okay. But he was like, don't get close, like, you know. So he was freaking out about that. But yeah,
he's a little more conservative than you.
Yes, but he said he wasn't like that before. But I don't. So I'm like, are you blaming me? Like,
maybe because he has to be responsible. Like for himself and you.
Yes, because he knows that I'm clumsy and I'm falling. I'm always falling a lot.
Girl,
me too. But I know, like, I know what I can do and what I can't do. So, like, if there's a path, like, I can follow the path and I'll be good. Even if it's, like, on the very edge. Like, if I'm wide enough to, like, be on it, I'll be fine. Like, I don't get, like I don't get nervous and I'm gonna, like, fall. Like, no, I don't get like that. But if it's something where it requires, like, strength, then I know, like, no, I can't do it. Like, I'm too weak, like, to grab onto something. Like, no.
Yeah, that's good. You're like, I recognize what I can and cannot do, and then we're not pushing any boundaries there. Yeah, that's good. Exactly. How about for you and Jacob?
Okay, that's a good question. I feel like you guys kind of hit a lot of them. Like, let's say he's not really willing to go, let's say, skydiving or things like that. But sometimes I think those are more preferences, like, oh, I don't want to do that. But I think what maybe could be a fear is like unknown places, right? So I grew up where, you know, we would go to different places. We'd go to Mexico, we'd stop at random towns and not know where you're going, and just kind of like, oh cool, I see a gas station, or let's try this restaurant. Like you don't have set places or recommendations. So I always kind of grew up thinking like that's okay. And then whereas Jacob's like, I've never been there. Like, it's dangerous. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Like, for the longest time, so many years, like, he did not want to go to Mexico at all. And I'm like, it was kind of hard for me because I was used to going either in the summer with my parents or for Christmas. So it's like every year growing up, you would almost just go. Like, that was a normal thing. and then we got married and that stopped, and then I hadn't gone for over 10 years to Mexico. As far as like Chihuahua, where my family's from, and like there was a hesitation, like I don't want to go, like, you know, the danger out there, the cartels and all this stuff. And it's my grandparents' anniversary, and they were renewing their vows, so we all went. And we did, like, he was comfortable going to Puerto Vallarta because it was with friends, and he knew, like, that they knew where we were going. They were comfortable with the resort. And same when we went to Baja with Mario and Ali, because Mario and Ali knew where we were going.
That's how
it was okay, right? But it's like, if he doesn't know where we're going, then it's like, you know, going to that unknown place is, you know, not okay. Right. Whereas like, I'm fine with like, oh, let's explore, let's try this, let's do that. Right.
Yeah. That's how Hera is too. Like very similar like that. Like he's like, oh, like if we don't know, like for example, like I want to go to like Japan or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, but we don't know how to speak, like, you know, like we don't know the language, so we would need to go with someone who knows. Yes. And I'm like, but people go all the time, they don't know the language. Like,
that's the thing. Like, it's like we think of this more of like, oh, let's go, like let's
an
just
adventure,
go. An adventure.
Yeah, like, but you have to have a plan. Like, what's your like? Where are you gonna go? Like, what if you get lost? You know, which is good also, but but like you said, like sometimes I feel like he holds back on some things because he's like afraid, like of kind of just going for it.
Yeah.
As far as like traveling, I'd say I'm more like that than Oscar, actually. Like, we've never been out of the country yet, but I think for like when that time comes, like I'm for sure going to be more scared. Like, oh, like where are we staying? Like, I don't know. Is it
safe? How are we getting there?
Yeah. How are we getting there? Like, it's scary. You're going to a brand new place, not in the US, you know? So I think that's like, probably a fear of mine would be like the unknown in that sense. But I think he'd be like, oh, we're fine. Like, let's just go, you know, everything's going to be fine. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know.
So my dad's saying is no pasa nada. Like nothing's going to happen. Right. And so I kind of feel like you just like embody that, like no pasa nada. Like you just go with the flow.
And that's how, it is like kind of how you grow up too. Yeah. Because like my mom always like, whatever happens, you can figure it out. Like, you know, like everything's figureoutable. Like everything you can like get yourself out of the situation. Like that's why she like, I don't want to say trained me, but like, you know, kind of trained me for like whatever you need. Like you can go ask someone if you need help.
Like
you can,
worst case scenario, you have options.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes. So when we went to Mexico, we flew into El Paso, and my parents picked us up there because they went in their truck this last time in July, and so they pick us up, and then we, you know, load our stuff into their truck, and then we cross the border because the town that we're going in is about, you know, 3 hours into Chihuahua after crossing the border, and so, you know, we have all our stuff, and it's, you know, my parents wanted to take the truck so they could take things to the family members, like, you know, gifts and things. And they specifically brought bottles of wine from one of their favorite wineries over here for the party. And they had a whole case. I don't remember if it was just one case of 12 bottles or more. And so apparently you're only allowed to cross 6. And so we get, you know, they pull us off, they inspect the truck, right there at border, you know, security or whatever. And they asked for a bribe. And so they had to pay the taxes on that wine import, but then aside from that, they asked for $100 cash, right? And Jacob was like, I told you so. Like, this is the reason why they're exploiting, you know, like, and my dad literally was like, oh yeah, I just paid $100. Like, it was like, it just happens. Like,
your dad knew that
what
was
do you
happen.
expect? Like, we brought a whole case of wine. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then
he's like, I've done this before.
He's like, he saw it as like, well, you know, the bottles are how expensive. Like, are you really gonna let him go, or are you just gonna pay $100?
It's funny when like your husband like sees like how your family is a little bit, and they're like see you in them.
Yeah.
Like afterwards, because like Hera, when he met my family, he was like, "Wow, like now I know why you don't lock doors."
He's like, no one in your family locks doors.
Yes, okay. That's happened to me so many times.
I was like, "Oh yeah,
Oh,
like,
I
that's how I
see
grew
why.
up." Like,
Yeah.
you know, just kind of like, I mean, okay.
Okay, so my family's from the rancho type, right? Like ranch. And there's dirt roads everywhere. And so when they just drive, I mean, they're so free. You have people riding on ATVs, no helmets, just going. You have kids in the back of the bed of the truck or whatever, right? So people just go like however. It's not like so strict. There's one stoplight there, right? So basically, when I drive, Jacob's like, why do you accelerate so much and then have to come to like a sudden stop, right? And then like he started just pointing it out to her. I'm like, oh my gosh, I do this. And one of the reasons like why when I'm with my parents, like, or even with my mom, I'll be like, Mom, I'm going to drive because I hate how you drive. You just rush so much and then stop, right? And then I realized like I do that, but like if they do it at 100%, way less. If they do it at 100%, I do maybe 20%, right?
Yeah,
but Jacob, my 20% is still way too much for Jacob, right? And so on this trip, I mean, he saw my dad drive, he saw my mom drive, and he's like, I see why. He's like, I don't like it, but like, I could see why you do that. And I'm like, I can't help it. I don't know why. Like, my whole life, they've always driven like this. So when they taught me how to drive, like, it was like 2 lessons and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who drives a lot between us two. So every time he's just like, really?
I know.
Sorry.
I do that too.
And I actually really try not to do it. Like I consciously, you know, try to slow down. And sometimes like I'll just like let my foot off the gas so that, you know, we're just like arriving there without really accelerating. He's like, why are you going so slow now? Like I can't, like you know, it's really hard to get that balance.
If I don't see anybody like in the cross sections on the
pass
side,
the line too.
I pass the line, and he's like, "Do you like in the middle of the line?" I'm like, "There's no one."
Yeah,
and then I'm like always in a hurry too, and I get that from my mom too, because she's like, I mean, she's always speeding everywhere. Yeah. But like you said, like I'm at 20%, she's like 100.
See, we're slowly breaking these generational curses and habits.
But yeah, like I'll just like go beyond. Like now, I try to not go beyond the stop sign.
Yeah.
Or like
same.
Or sometimes this is pretty bad, but sometimes like there'll be people crossing, and then as soon as like they cross my section, I'm like, okay, like let's go. Like
then you want to go. Like
yes,
you just
like
crossed mine.
I think for me on that, when it comes to cooking, I love cooking, and sometimes I don't even eat what I cook, but just having people enjoy what I cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
You know, like the shrimp, you're allergic, and like everybody
know.
else. I know.
And
like,
the oysters
like,
too. You're a savage.
Yeah.
But you make oysters too?
Well, me and Mario. I just
the best oysters, by the way.
Oh yeah.
They're so yummy. I will say those are the best prepared oysters. I love oysters in general. Mm-hmm. But your prepared oysters are my favorite.
Well, and
your shrimp
is
too.
Mario's recipe.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But your shrimp is so yummy too.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I to me, and my mom was the type where, oh, there's nothing to eat, and then she'll ran through the refrigerator and pull whatever leftover was, and then
make food.
And there was food.
Yep.
And Mario's like, I think your best dishes are from leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because there's nothing that it's planned. It's just like, oh, okay, little.
Yeah, that's kind of how
something
I
up.
am too, and I love cooking too. Have you seen the Chopped?
Yes.
I love
You know,
that.
like that's kind of how it is. Like they just like random ingredients. I'm
Yes.
like, dude, I would be good at Chopped.
I think that's cultural too, because like my mom is the same way. If like you need a quick meal, you'll stop like 10 minutes and she'll put together something really good so fast. And then it was funny because when we lived with my brother and sister-in-law, she would always tell me, like, we'd both get off of work like, ooh, what are we gonna have? And she's like, I don't know. what do you think? And then, okay, let's grab this. And she's like, you're really good at making like quick meals and like something just out of nothing. And it's just like, okay, yeah, that's my mom too. Cause she'll, I have a tomato, like boom, like tomato, onion, like you can make tacos, you can make this, that, like you could garnish it and it's like kind of fresh, even though you're using leftovers too. Yeah. Or like, simple ingredients, like you can make something really good off of them.
Yeah. I think I get that more from my dad, actually.
Your dad?
Yeah.
So what have your guys' reactions been to the podcast? Like, do you watch them online or do you listen to it? I personally do Spotify because I'll do it in the car.
Oh, okay. So you just listen to it then?
Yeah, I listen to it. And then I'll watch the reels on Instagram.
Okay. I watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, same. I like to watch it. Like, I think like, I don't know, just hearing it and then also watching it is like 10 times better. I don't know. And I swear I like laugh pretty much the whole time. I swear. I think me and Denise talked about it. We had watched the same episode. Like, I think it was the same day we both went to the gym and we were on like the treadmill, same instance. And we were just like like I have my headphones in, I have it like propped up and I'm just walking and I'm just like laughing out loud. Like I just can't not laugh. But for me, I like to see and hear it at the same time. I think it like adds that special little.
I think so. I think I need to do that because that time that I was at the gym listening to it, it was still just on Spotify and I was just thinking to myself, like, I look like an idiot. Like, I'll see a glimpse of myself in the mirror and I'm like hella smiling or laughing and it's like no one's next to me and it's like I'm just laughing to myself. Right. And I think at the time, like, my hair was kind of covering my AirPods.
They're like, does she even have
like, what are you doing, girl? Like, but it was so funny. And the whole time, just the whole time we're just laughing.
I feel like I crack up at my own, like I'm always daydreaming in general, so I feel like I have no shame like in just laughing because I'm always like thinking about stuff and then I laugh to myself, so
so it's
I feel like I do that like all the time.
You're used to it.
I watch it on YouTube as well. And, I mean, I think it's great for just to see their dynamic and like they'll come from different backgrounds, all of them, and at the same time they have so much like similarities, which is funny. And, and I think it's a good way for them to channel out their stuff, whatever manly thoughts or their perspective as a man. And if they have other people to share it with, especially that they're going to be supported and not be judged by it. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I think like one of the things too that a lot of guys don't have is like how a lot of women have the sisterhood bond of like you share a lot of things with your friends, your sister, like anybody. And then like some guys don't really have those like in-depth relationships. I've always said like guys have shoulder to shoulder relationships where it's like, let's take a drive. And if you're shoulder to shoulder, then they could talk a little bit or let's go fishing. Let's go golfing. So, and like you have to like get yourself to do something first before you even dive in. But then like sometimes they don't get to do that. So then they don't dive in. Right? Whereas like we can just call each other like, oh my gosh, like guess what happened? Like I had the worst day. Right? They won't jump straight to sharing like what, happened to them. They have to like do something and then be able to like dive in. Right? And like a lot of guys like their relationships can be superficial sometimes where it's like, hey, we like the same team, let's watch the game, right? I'm not saying all guys, but it's like I think it's so important for everybody to have somebody that you could actually let go of things and like really be yourself with too, and like have these friendships. I think our like the guys have that in general, like with each other, but with also other people. So it's like they're healthy in that sense of like not keeping everything to yourself. Cause like they share some stuff with each other here that they don't always tell us. Like it's news to me, right? And it's like, of course they share things with us that they don't share to everybody. But it's nice to see like in live action that like, okay, this is good. Like you have your outlet, like you have somebody that understands you in a way that I never will. Right.
And I think Allie made a good point of like not being judged.
Yeah.
Right? So having that person, like, I feel like as girls, like you said, we have like, we can pick up the phone, even call our mom, our sister, our best friend, whoever it may be. And, you know, our husbands might have like that urgency to go do it, but they just don't have the will at the same time. So this has really opened up like a door for them, like not just between them, but like with other men as well. Like I feel like they've been more open and more vulnerable, and it has allowed also people who watch to see like, oh, it's
this
okay.
is good.
You know,
This
like
is not-
there's absolutely nothing wrong with being open, being vulnerable, and just sharing like whatever, how your day went or things from the past, like having all these different things to talk about and having someone you can confide in and know, like you trust that person with that information.
Like, I think I mentioned it to you guys, like I was watching them and I was like, man, like they're really getting to know each other like so well. But I was like, hello, like what's going on with us? Like, I want to know Shanice's like, you know, traumas and fears.
Yes. What are her dark fears?
No, because like sometimes like I don't know why, like with Oscar, I feel like I'm relating more towards like watching the podcast. Like he's the one that I relate more with. And I just like some of the stuff he says, I'm like, wow, like I didn't know that about him, but I can relate to what he's saying like a lot.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I want to know that about not everyone, but like people I'm close to. Like I think it's important for people to know, you know, those kind of things. And then like
Especially people like you spend the most time with, like you know, just knowing those little irks or whatever the case may be, like that, or what buttons you can push and whatnot. So just being like aware of who you're with, especially people you spend the most time with, like knowing like what they like, what they don't like, or whatever the case is, or their fears or whatever. So yeah, I feel like just watching them, like they're also growing and evolving at the same time as doing this, and it's been like, it's so fun. It's really fun, like for us too. And I know they're having
where this
so
goes.
much fun.
No, they love it.
Like for us, it's fun. So I can only imagine how much fun they're really having. You know, so
is there something
you can tell they're always happy to see each other too. Like it's the Mondays, like recording and stuff.
Is there something that's been like surprising to you guys that they've said, or like just kind of like, whoa?
Surprising to me. I think one of the things that surprised me, I mean, I obviously knew the way our relationship started, but when he said that I was able to put him on his tracks, or that I kept him on his tracks, something like that, that was like, oh,
that's so sweet. I like hearing things like that too.
So you know, because I think in a relationship, you know, you have the lovey-dovey, and then you kind of grow from that. But to have that person, because I could say the same thing. I was not even a train. So he you're like, I had no shape yet.
I was in a cart to latch on to the
right. And just hearing him say, because of her, that she was able to put me on the tracks. I'm like, but I wasn't even a train. And it just kind of,
that's so sweet.
It kind of reminded me of our relationship on our early stages of how, I mean, we were 18, 19 when we started dating, and we both were like, you know, not in the best place to start a relationship. But somehow we started it, and here we are 23 years later. And I think when he said that, it kind of sank into me, like, oh my God, we both were each other's tracks and trains or carts or whatever, you know? So to me, I think that was the most surprising thing.
Like what he thought, like you were for him, like he was that for you too. And like it all kind of came together, like, oh, like that's why we're together.
That's awesome. I love
that's
that.
Really nice.
For me, I think I guess it wasn't like a shocking thing that he said, but like it made me feel like good, I guess, was like when he shared about how when he first like started to really communicate with me, like he was very like closed off, and like, and this was even like deep into our years of being together, but we would communicate, but he never really like opened up more about his feelings and stuff. And like, I felt like I had tried to like get that out of him, but for whatever reasons he wasn't comfortable, not so to say with me, but just in general, like he just never had to do that in life. So when I like heard him talk about how, you know, he really felt like comfortable now communicating with me, and like how much our relationship got better after that point in time, like it made me feel good too, like knowing that like he took that step in life to open up, like, I am your person, you're my person, so we shouldn't hold anything back from each other, you know. So just like him, I guess, like realizing that like he can do that with me, I guess, you know. It was like, it was a nice thing to hear, but
yeah, that was sweet. He did say that, you know, he struggled with that.
Yeah. I mean, I still feel like it's not really a struggle as much anymore, but like he has progressed so much on that. But like just him, like still being like, he still holds back in a sense. I wouldn't say like a lot, but just like him having to remind himself like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. Like, this is my wife. I can tell her anything and everything, and she's going to support me and stand by me, you know? So just the reassurance for him too, and myself as well, I think is really awesome to see and hear.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, gosh, I'm trying not to get emotional now. No, I think like sometimes I feel like I'm the more like lovey-dovey one, or like I just express it more. But hearing Hera like talk about like how he was just like not like really excited about being like married, or like just his thoughts on marriage, like, you know, kind of just got me like, oh wow, like, because I felt the same way too, like, and I feel like, I mean, that's why we connected too, just like the same levels of like respect and like the values that we have of like respecting each other and all that stuff. Like just hearing like him be vulnerable about that was really like awesome to see, and just like, you know, just the values that he has like for marriage and all that. Yeah, I think that was like not surprising, but just kind of like, oh wow, like he said that like to other people. I don't know, like
So I think it's like kind of a reminder for you, where like you know, especially being married for a certain period of time, or even newlywed. Sometimes it's a good reminder of what was that precious at the beginning, what was that feeling at the beginning, or the thoughts.
Yeah,
and also why you picked them too.
Right.
Yeah, because I especially when it came to that episode of like engagements and road to marriage, right? The thing that surprised me was, let's say like you hear back your own story, or like you know, your friends' stories, and then makes you grateful that we, you know, got like into that then versus like what you hear now of like, you know, the dating market and the apps and people like, if you don't cook, you don't, you know, you're this or you're that or whatever, like all these mean things, right? Whereas like back then you were a person, right? And it's just, it's nice to like really see like why you picked that person and like, okay, I made a good choice, you know? And then like sharing other things like when Jacob was, you know, talking about Alina and having her young, and like how he had to step up to the plate and things like that, and like be a dad, right? And that was one thing like for me that when I met him, it was like, oh, one thing that I saw that he was a good dad and like so committed that I thought, okay, if he wouldn't have been a good dad, I wouldn't have liked him or been attracted to him. Like if he was a deadbeat dad, right? Or like, oh, I only see her on the weekend kind of situation. Like I wouldn't have liked that either, right? So it's like, well, on the other end, I'm like glad that he's like so extra because at least you know like what kind of person he is, right? And so, yeah, there's like a lot of things. Like it was nice to just like relive that story from his perspective.
Right.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
Unexpected, but
it was
fun.
a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I think
now the audience got what
cook
they wanted.
For us, or
I mean, they are putting food together.
Okay, got
probably.
it.
Actually, Jacob did cook meat. I think it was like a rib roast from. Yeah, so you guys get to try his meat.